So no vlog for this week because it was kind of a slow week. Probably only had one shoot. Instead, what I'm going to do is go over what I put in my camera bag that I take with me everywhere, and knowing that if I just take this one bag and nothing else, I can do my job, and everything that is in that bag is in there for a reason. So I'll go through my thought process on why I have what I have in that bag. I guess we can start off with the backpack. This is a Mosiso camera bag. It was on like Amazon, got it for like Christmas for like 50 bucks. This is the heart of my setup, if you will. And I would have shot on the FX30, you know, just to add the extra sauce for you guys, but I wanted to showcase everything in here in its right spot so you can get the idea. This is pretty much what it looks like when I go on a shoot. We'll start with just the small stuff and then we'll get to the fun stuff. Over here we have our filters. So in these pouches I have variable ND filters. I have a 2:5 and a 6:9 freewheel ND filter. This is the 6:9 for really sunny days. That's pouch 1. Pouch 2 is just extra filters that didn't fit in the first pouch. So here we have, I used to use this a lot. It's a Tiffin Black Pro Mist filter. If you can see it, used to use this every single day. Got tired of the look, so now it stays in the bag. And then 77mm circular polarizer that I don't really use often, but it does come in handy once in a while. Over here is a newer, this is a dummy battery for the Sony a6400 that I have, which I will show you guys in a moment. Now we'll work our way over here. On this side, we have a side handle that I use. I actually use this for mostly my vertical rig setup. Whenever I go full vertical with the FX30, this is the side handle for it. It is a NATO rail that attaches right here actually. So moving on, this is a Field World field monitor I use. I love to use a external monitor just because it's a bigger screen so I can see what I'm doing and make sure I'm in focus, make sure there's nothing in the background that is not supposed to be there. I have a higher chance of seeing it and recognizing it if I have a 5-inch monitor with me. Since we're on the topic of the external monitor, NPF battery for the monitor just clicks in like so. Like that. Moving on, this is a top handle, I believe small rig top handle. It's for whenever I am set up for horizontal, same thing. This is an Arca-Swiss plate that I use on the side so that I can attach it to one of my tripods. This is a 99 watt-hour newer battery that I like to use in conjunction with my FX30 so that I don't have to worry about swapping batteries, especially on longer shoot days. And then the last thing in this little section of my bag is my DJI mic. All the stuff for it is also in this pouch, so lavalier mics. So we're done with this section where it's all the stuff for outside and my extra camera. And then this is just rig and just accessories for the camera. Actually, before I move on to the lenses and the camera, is another mic, the Sennheiser MKE 200. Right here is a small little mic. I used to use a bigger mic for my setup, which I still have, which is the Sennheiser MKE 600, I think. And that used to live on this section of my bag, but it got way too big and too cumbersome. So I bought this mic so that it's a smaller footprint whenever I rig out my camera. We'll move on to the lenses. The first lens over here is the Sony 50mm 1.8. I don't really use it that often, only sometimes for photos, but I don't really use this that often because it is a 50mm focal length, and because all my cameras are cropped, it's essentially an 85, which is really tight. On to the next lens, which is my most recent lens that I got, is the Sirui, I want to say Sniper series, 23mm f1.2. The reason why I got this lens was because it's an f1.2. It gives me the option to go low light in situations where I can't bring additional lighting. I actually want to get another one, which is a little wider. Moving on to my first camera that I upgraded from my Canon T3i. This is the Sony a6400. This came out in 2019. Still use it. Great for what it is. Primarily, this is my photo camera. It still takes great photos. It still gets the job done. Don't need to upgrade to anything more at the moment. Attached to it is the Tokino 11-18 f2.8. The reason why I got this lens was because I needed something a little wider than, I needed a secondary lens for the camera, but also I needed something a little wider than my 17 mil, which is attached, 17 to 70, which is attached to my FX30. Moving on, my main workhorse of a camera. This is the Sony FX30. But actually, before I get to the Sony FX30, I want to talk about the lens that's attached to it. This is the last lens, and it's also the lens I use, I would say 80% of the time. This is the Tamron 17-70 f2.8. 1770, it gets pretty much the focal length that I want and need for what I do. This is APS-C. It goes from essentially a, I want to say a 24 millimeter to a, I want to say 90. But it's a big range, so that's why I love using this lens and why this is primarily my main lens. And attached to it is a V-mount cage that I can easily remove if I want to make it more compact and more sleek. This is Arca Swiss at the bottom, and then right here is the V-mount plate that I can just attach V-mount battery to, and there you go. So now that we are done with this section, the last bit of it is this part right here. This part right here is two pouches. Top pouch first. The first thing that comes out on the first pouch is my battery pouch for the FX30. We have 3, including 1 already in the camera. There's a total of 4 NPF Z100 batteries. And then on the very last one is the tiny A6400 battery. I do have a system on how I know whether or not the batteries are charged. So if the connections are facing up like so, it is fully charged, and whenever I'm done and it is drained, all I do is just flip it down. Connectors are no longer shown. So the next thing is do bring a magic arm, because there are some instances that I have an idea for a certain shot that requires me to connect a magic arm to something. And then we got a lens cleaner just in case dirt. And then we have this case, which is a SD card case. These are micro SD cards to regular SD card adapters that I use. And usually the cards that take micro SDs are like the audio recorders, and then also the DJI Mini 3 Pro drone. The last thing is just some Allen keys for tightening bolts and just adjusting whatever I need to adjust on the cage, on the camera cage, or any rigging accessories. The last thing is this pouch at the bottom. Most of the stuff at the bottom is usually just cables. First is a HDMI to HDMI cord. This connects my external monitor to the FX30. And then I have this really long cable that I found actually by accident, and it can power, and it is connected to the external monitor to the V-mount, so that I don't actually have to use the NPF battery if I didn't want to. Next thing is just a blower just to clean the lens, clean the sensor, just in case if dirt or debris gets into it. This little guy is the small rig articulating, I don't know what it's called, but this is the piece that connects field world monitor right here to my FX30. So it just connects like this. Or if I am doing vertical, Then there's another cord 20 right there, and then I just connect it like that. And then this magnet that's for the iPhone, so it connects like on the back of the phone, so that I can connect this with the friction arm right here, quarter 20, and then I can rig this to my camera and then put my phone on this thing so that I can get like a POV of my rig, and that's sort of for BTS work. And then the last thing is just this USB. The USB, this is how I power my camera when I connect my V-mount battery. I don't use D-tap, I don't use a dummy battery. And then also on the side right here is a little phone mount that can go around my neck to get extra BTS. That is it. That is everything I need to run a shoot smoothly. If I cannot carry anything else, this is the one bag that can do pretty much everything that I need to get the job done.